Etsy's old listing workflow manager is being taken down at the end of June 2024. So if you've been reverting back to that old version for the last several months and ignoring the new version, well, it's time to get used to that new version. So in this video, we're going to take a look at that new listing manager for print-on-demand sellers specifically and talk through a few important things that you don't want to miss. All right, so as you can see, you've probably seen this blue banner in one of your listings, either when you're creating a new one or when you're editing a current one on Etsy. They're letting us know that the old listing form is being sunset. It's going away on June 25th, 2024. So as I said in the intro there, if you have been reverting to the old view because you like the old view better, the new view here is what we're going to have going forward. So if you haven't gotten used to it yet, now is definitely the time before you're forced here later this month. So what I want to do in this video is walk through the creation process of a new listing for a print-on-demand seller. So we're going to look at this from the standpoint of pushing a new listing from Printify. But before we look at a new one, I did want to quickly show you an existing listing because there is something in here right in this. This is the listing editor view. There is something in here that that could be helpful to you if you are looking at making updates to your existing listings. Like if you're looking at tweaking the thumbnails, tweaking the description, updating the tags, things like that. There is a performance tab here over on the left. Your main sections are listed across the top, starting with About, and you can jump down to these other sections of the listing in this view. But the first option to the left here is the Performance tab. So when we click on that, it gives you a quick view of the listing's performance, including the views, orders, revenue, favorites, and latest reviews. So that is something you might want to just take a quick look at, see if there's anything helpful there if you haven't been using this form or noticed that there was a performance tab. But all right, let's go over to Printify and push a new listing, and then we'll walk through some important things to take a look at. All right, so let's say I'm publishing this Gratitude is Power t-shirt from Printify to my Etsy account. I'm gonna make sure that I select my shipping profile here the way I always would, because nothing is changing here on the Printify side of things. So I'm just gonna go through this the exact same way I normally would. It's on the Etsy side that we wanna take a closer look. Okay, so here's our listing in the draft folder because I did not publish it as live. I published it as a hidden draft. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it takes to finish a listing on Etsy now with this new listing form. First of all, editing the mockups is a little bit different. So the layout is similar, but there are some differences here. We've got photos and videos here. Of course, we can fill up to 10 still, and we can still add a video here. We can click on the edit button. That's what we need to do to edit the primary mockup if we want to actually adjust the thumbnail, if we want to crop the image, or if we want to add alt text to actually describe the image. You can do that for each of your mockup images. But for the primary thumbnail here, we need to use this adjust thumbnail to actually adjust it, size it, zoom in so that it actually, is legible. Someone can actually read what this design says in the search results. Now, the white color option here is probably not the best. So I'm going to click on undo changes and done. And then I'm going to use one of these other colors to sort of advertise this listing that maybe has a little bit more contrast. So there, this color option I think looks a bit better. You can still certainly read the design, but you get better contrast there. So I'm gonna click done on that one. So that's where you need to make that edit now. And in the bottom right corner, we can now click on apply. You can still do this separately. Right below that, you have this view of the thumbnail. You can still click on adjust thumbnail. It takes you to the exact same place. So either way, you've got to open up that pop-up and actually make that edit. I have found it is hit or miss as to whether it actually shows the edit you made here. When you click on adjust thumbnail, it does clearly show that it saved that change you made. But whether it actually shows it here in this little preview, it's been hit or miss. All right, so that's updating your thumbnails. Nothing super complicated there. Just got to make sure that you have to click on adjust thumbnail there or get into the edit view here to make sure you're adjusting that search thumbnail. Your description is pretty much exactly the same, so nothing new there. Personalization is now right below the description where you can click add personalization if this is a personalized item. The controls for that are the same. You've got instructions you can add the character limit, and you can also make it optional or not optional. Pricing and inventory and then variations are the next two sections. So you do have a little estimated profit calculator here now where you can enter your cost and it will give you an estimate of the profit. If, like apparel, you have different prices for different sizes, in this case, I published them all with the same price just because I was doing it very quick. Normally, my size 2XL and 3XL would be more expensive than my small through XL. And when you do that, it shows you the range from the lowest price to the highest price. You could put in your cost here, say it was $13.50, and now it will tell you what the estimated fees are for the lowest and the highest price and what your estimated profit range is. Now, this isn't really the best. I wouldn't personally use this as my only profit calculator because, well, you kind of want your prices set before you get to this stage when you're publishing from a print-on-demand platform, since we set the prices on Printify. But even if I was creating my listing from scratch on Etsy directly and I hadn't gotten to the pricing step yet, this still isn't the best for products that have different pricing for different sizes, because this only shows you the lowest price and the highest price in the listing. It doesn't show you any of the middle prices. So you still want to use a separate profit calculator to actually determine your prices for each size if the product has multiple sizes. You've still got controls here for your quantity and your SKUs, but when you have variations and you're publishing from a print-on-demand platform, they're going to come through with all of this pre-populated. So you don't actually need to do anything here in terms of managing these if you're publishing from your platform. Of course, you can create your own manual variations if you're doing combo listings. That's a whole separate conversation. I'm just walking through this from the standpoint of publishing it from a print-on-demand platform, and in that case, these will all be pre-populated. Okay, now the next section is details, and here is a sort of hidden important item. They sort of hid these settings, which used to be right there in front of you on the old listing workflow. It's in this core details section where it says it's a physical handmade item. Here is where the settings are for where we need to put our production partner, and yes, we do need to do this if we are print-on-demand sellers, which we are on this channel. So we need to click on change here. We can leave it as physical item for our print-on-demand physical products. We need to change who made it to another company or person. What is it? A finished product. When was it made? Made to order. We can leave it as made to order because that's correct. But below that, we need to click on the select production partner and actually select the production partner. You can also create a new production partner if you don't have one in your account yet. But assuming you're an existing seller and just getting used to this new process, all of your existing production partners will be listed here. So we click on done, and then one more time we click on apply, and now we're all set. We changed it from myself to another company or person, and we changed the production partner. The other settings we didn't have to change, but that still is important. We do have to pop that open every time we create a new listing and make sure that this is correct, because we don't want to misrepresent any of our listings and make it look like we're not getting any help from a production partner, because we are. All right, the category is the next section, and generally you can leave these as is. These come through, if they're apparel items, usually with the correct category from your print-on-demand platform. However, you can always look to see if there's another category that you would like to add. I personally sometimes will put graphic tee as the category, especially if it's a very graphic heavy design that I've made. Now your attributes section, you have similar options here. You can select colors, sizing, all of that. I personally don't do any of this for apparel because the different variations are what really says what color each option is going to be. And the sizing also, that's covered in the variations. So we don't need to do any of that. Now sleeve length, that's one of those things, just like before, it's up to you. You can pick short sleeve, long sleeve, whatever it actually is, or you can leave it empty. There are also more attributes you can unlock here. You can do the neckline. So this would be a crew neck. You have styles, you have occasions, holidays. So these are hidden by default. And that's another important point. If you like to put in the information on categories for the graphic or select a specific holiday, then you actually have to click on this show all attributes to get those options now. Your tags and materials are the same as they were before. You still have 13 tags. You still want to try and use all of them. So that's where that is. Now the shipping section is another section which has a little bit of a different look and feel to it, but it works the same way for the most part. You have your shipping profile showing here. This came through from Printify because we selected it over there. We could always change the shipping profile, or we can still directly access the shipping profile to edit it if we need to change production time or anything like that. We can still do that directly from each individual listing. So this section's not all that different. Item weight and size, don't need to worry about. Never had to worry about that with print on demand because we charge fixed shipping amounts that are not based on weight and size, so we can leave that alone. Customs information, we can also leave that alone. The settings section at the bottom here is where some of the sort of miscellaneous things are all grouped together now. This is where the return policy is. If you've set up your default return policy, it will sort of by default be assigned to all of the new listings. So I don't have to change this one, and you won't have to change it either if you already have existing return policies set up for your shop. The shop section for your listing is now all the way at the bottom here. So if we have a t-shirt section for our shop or whatever type of product you're creating, now that option is all the way here at the bottom of the listing. Featuring the listing, that is the option to have it show up at the top in a saved row of your shop's homepage. So that option is now down here on the bottom. And then the very last thing is your renewal options. I've talked about this one many times, still have a separate video all about why I like to do manual and not automatic for this. The short version of that story is if you do automatic, you're going to get charged 20 cents multiple times per year, even if this listing never sells once. And I personally don't like to keep paying for listings to renew if they are not selling. If they never sell, then I want them to expire. Give me a chance to look at it and decide whether I want to renew it first. Otherwise, I'm just spending 20 cents, I think 3 times a year, forever until I close my Etsy shop, even if this listing never makes me a dime. So that's why I like manual. Now at the bottom, you will see a summary of unsaved changes when you edit a listing. It will tell you which sections of your listing you have edited, which is a little bit helpful in case you're kind of not sure about what things you changed on an existing listing of yours, but this was a new one. So we can either save the draft, because remember this one was in my drafts folder already, or we can go ahead and publish it. So that's it. That's all of the sections that you really need to pay attention to for print-on-demand listings. All right, so that'll do it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that I didn't mention that you think is really important to pay attention to in this new listing workflow for print-on-demand sellers. And let me know if you have any questions about it. Don't forget to subscribe to the POD Insights channel. Thank you so much to all subscribers. I really do appreciate your support. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.